which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Almighty God, as we gather, we thank you. We thank you tonight for Wilma being able to attend over the telephone. We ask that you would bless her, that you would help her with her healing, that she can continue to move along with no pain and quick recovery. And we thank you for her being able to be here. And we ask that you would bless us tonight as we're looking at trying to do things for the students and the staff, all the people of Pendleton County. And we ask that you would bless all of us with wisdom and discretion. Amen.
Amen.
We don't have any public here for comments, so that brings us down to student and staff recognition.
Alrighty. Senior Madison Brooks is a January Academic Student of the Month at Pendleton County High School. Madison resides at Franklin with Jimmy Perry. She's a member of the National Honor Society Pep Club. Yearbook, she was selected to attend Governor's Honor Academy. She plans to attend WVU in the fall, major in respiratory therapy. Then she hopes to work at Ruby Memorial in Morgantown. And junior Mason DeFalco of Franklin is the January James Huffman Responsible Student of the Month at Pendleton County High School. He is the son of Brian DeFalco and Jamie DeFalco. He is a past winner of the Golden Horseshoe. He enjoys hunting and fishing. Mason's a member of the Franklin Volunteer Fire Department and works at T&K Market. He plans on attending WVU to attain a degree in public safety. In February, Academic Student of the Month, Senior Nick Rhodes is a February Academic Student of the Month at Pendleton County High School. He's the son of Jeffrey Victoria Rhodes of Franklin. He's a member of the National Honor Society Pendleton County High School football team. He's on the A honor roll. Dean's List for Eastern Technical Community College and has been nominated for the WVU Leadership Academy. He plans to study kinesiology at WVU and pursue a career in physical therapy. Lisa and I may need to keep his name there. Okay, and in the February James Huffman Responsible Student of the Month is Senior James Vinsel. He is February James Huffman Responsible Student of the Month. He's the son of Joe and Allison Vinsel Franklin. James has been a starter for the both baseball and football team for all 4 years of his high school career at Pendleton County High School. He's received All-State Baseball for 2 years, All-PBC linebacker for 1 year. He likes lifting weights, hunting, fishing. James plans to play baseball at Concord University while pursuing a degree in English education. Jerica, you may want to notch 4 years from now, put a little ding in your phone, and that's it.
That's all for the student and staff recognition. Any questions for that? Then we move down to the minutes for the February 4th board meeting. We've all received a copy of those. Are there any corrections or objections to those minutes, or do we have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion or any comment? Then all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, no. Motion passes, and then that brings us down to personnel.
Right. Resignations and retirements. Christine Bowers, retirement cook at Pendleton County Middle High School. Natasha Bowers, resignation, middle school assistant volleyball coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Sheila Evick, retirement preschool special needs teacher at Franklin Elementary School. And Charlotte Hoover, retirement bus driver for bus number 5424.
You have a recommendation to accept the retirements and the resignations as presented.
Our superintendent is recommending that we accept the resignation and the retirements as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second then.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
We should add them with regret.
Yes.
People had a lot of years there.
If everybody's okay, we'll add with regret to that motion, to the retirements. Yeah, there's some significant years there. Anything else? Then all in favor of accepting the resignation and the retirements with regret, please signify by saying aye.
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 And opposed, no. Motion passes.
Permission to post for Energy Express, 1 custodian, 1 cook, and 2 bus drivers.
Yeah, my recommendation for permission to post for the Energy Express custodian, cook, and 2 bus drivers.
Our superintendent is recommending that we grant permission to post, approve permission to post in a custodian, cook, and 2 bus drivers for Energy Express. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
Where's, is that held at Franklin?
Yes.
Franklin.
We'll
Franklin
go over
Elementary.
that in a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right.
She was going last time. I was trying to get
Okay.
that first. and then
Okay,
this.
that's fine.
Anything else? Then all in favor of granting permission to post for the custodian, cook, and bus drivers for Energy Express, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
Alright. Employment of personnel, Taylor Southerly, extracurricular high school assistant softball coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Miranda Hess, substitute aide. Sherry Bennett, substitute aide. And Miranda Hess for substitute cook.
You have my recommendation for employment of personnel as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending that we employ the personnel as presented. Do we have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of employing the personnel as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
Approval of contracts, purchase of planning periods for Lindsay Hauk, and duty-free lunch agreements for Tanya Hedrick and Heather Copley.
You have my recommendation for approval of contracts as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending we approve the contracts as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of purchasing the 1 planning period and having 2 duty-free lunch agreements, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Approval of volunteers and chaperones for Franklin Elementary volunteers as listed, Franklin Elementary School chaperones as listed, Pendleton County Middle High School volunteers as listed, and Pendleton County Middle High School chaperones as listed.
Now my recommendation for approval of volunteers and chaperones as listed.
Our superintendent is recommending that we approve the volunteers and chaperones as listed. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving the volunteers and chaperones for FES and County Middle High, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. Finishes.
We are finished.
We're all done now with personnel then, so we move down to finance.
Okay. So under finance, we do not have any budget revisions for this meeting. We took care of several at the last meeting. Going down to 6B. 6B, we are calling it a library funding request, but as I go over the letter, it's more of informational as far as that goes. It's addressed, of course, to the president and board members that wish to express thanks and appreciation for the support. And what happened was, I talked to Sue Harper, who's on the board a month or so ago, and said that we need to send a letter to request our money for the current year, which in the past, they've always sent their invoice right away over the summer. This year with transition, they didn't. We didn't really pay attention to it, so this was more or less their request to get the current year funding for FY25, which we did go ahead and send out the current year funding for FY25. You know, he does indicate in the letter, the new director, that he would like to come and make a presentation as in years past. I did follow up with an email, but I haven't heard anything from him as far as a request to do so. So I will follow up again with Mr. Johnson, the director of the library. If any others of you know him, you're welcome to do so. But I assume they will come to a meeting before too long, ask to be on the agenda, and then make a presentation about the program and make an official request for FY26. So as I would, this is really to say, send us our FY25 money, and that's what we have done. This is information, no action necessary, and if it does come up again, then we'll work with Lisa with getting it on the agenda for that. So this
Was
is
that the amount we gave him in '24?
10,000
Yeah.
has been for several years.
Okay.
It's been increased. I mean,
think we upped it about 2 years ago.
They're getting ready for
Several
six.
several years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Going back, 8 or 10 years, it was 4, 5, 6, and up to 8, and then went up to 10. So it has been, a pretty sizable percentage increase over the last number of years. And so this was a way, I think, of introducing himself via letter, asking for the current year money, and then I will contact him to see if he can come and make a presentation as was done in the past. So that's all under that particular item. Financial update, 6C. There are several items under here. I will try not to take too lengthy amount of time. Secure rural schools. Every few meetings we talk about that. This is the latest letter from the National Coalition. When Nicole actually, in fall of '23, Nicole was still here in this office, and we went together with other counties up to there for our latest trip to keep funding going for secure rural schools. It's still not really be authorized yet for the current year. For their FY '24 funds are FY '25, so it's kind of odd the way they do their fiscal years, because we're looking at FY '26 for us coming up. So they do have legislation sponsored in the House and Senate to try to get this reauthorized, and it is bipartisan in support because forest counties, rural counties are a large geographic area of many different states, particularly out west, but some here in the mid-Atlantic and mid-South as well. So there are some bills, legislation that are out there with some co-sponsors, Democrat and Republican. Senator Capito is certainly on there as well, and I didn't look at the whole list. Senator Justice is actually on the Senate side as well. I see that there, and so there's a number of House sponsors, not as many House sponsors, to go ahead and reauthorize. As it says, 720 forest counties in 41 states. So I think there's bipartisan support, but they have to get it a vehicle to get it passed, some legislation to attach it to get it passed in Congress. So I'll work. I'll talk with Mr. Hedrick and see if we want to send an official letter or something to express our support, obviously, for the forest land funds. So that's just information on the first one there, secure rural schools. The next item is Wood County. There's a couple of newspaper articles. This first one's from Wood County. We've talked about the federal funds ending for a couple of years, and so it's not exactly a news flash. At the same time, it is real. The money is ending, and so some other counties have talked about, yes, the money is gone. They're having unprecedented RIF, reduction in force situations. There is shrinking student population for several different reasons. So that just is a article from the Wood County School Board in terms of they're looking at their situation. Situation we don't want to find ourselves in as far as caught off guard. We need to continue to be proactive in looking at issues as they come up. So that was Wood County article there. The Randolph County from Elkins Intermountain has an article from this past weekend about an uncertain season in terms of how many reduction in forces they're going to have. On the surface, they're talking about up to 32 positions, which is a lot. Randolph is a larger county than us, certainly, but that's a large number for Randolph County to have there. So talks about them sending the RIF letters out, and I don't know what final decisions they will make, but I imagine there will be quite a few RIFs, reduction in force letters, being sent out as it applies there in Randolph County. So just two items of information there as it relates to that. Mr. Hedrick he may have something to say later about the safety grant, so I'll save that for now unless he wants to talk about it
No,
now.
you can go over it now.
Okay, safety grant, emailed today. So there was an allocation by the legislature, and Pendleton County did apply, and $1 million was allocated for some money for safety. It was not a huge allocation, but it still helps us to the point of $50,000. So these following schools were awarded, and it is Boone County. So it's not every single county in the state. It is Boone County down to Wyoming, and
And
some.
50 was the max.
Yeah, 50 was the max, so it looks like maybe 20 or so were funded. And for Pendleton County, some security film and bollards, And I'm sure Travis will be updating us as we go forward with that. So that's not going to pay the whole bill on those projects, particularly the film, but it will help us get a good start, and certainly will help us do some things safety-wise with funding that we won't have to come up with ourselves as far as this $50,000 goes. And, we're one of the, only half of those counties received a full amount of funding. Some got 30, some got 15, some got maybe 14. So good for Pendleton County. We're going to be getting that. So I'm sure we'll be talking about how to move forward at some point, what we need to do, if we need to do anything additional. So there was a Safe Schools Fund Selection Committee, and these are the ones that were selected. So again, we received the maximum funding for that. The next item, 6C for expense. So I'll update this every board meeting or two. Again, nothing has really changed since the last time we talked about this. It does show our various categories, such as professional personnel, how much year-to-date plus remaining to be spent under the encumbrances, and professional salaries, for example. And I always kind of scroll down to the bottom. The bottom right says where we are at this moment. 2.591 million on the second page. We still have the year-end child nutrition transfer, some remaining, of course, utilities and subs, as mentioned. And as mentioned at the last meeting, we're still on target, to look at between 1.5 and 1.8 million fund balance at year-end, which is where I think we need to be. I think we will be. The next item is a revenue. Don't show as often because it doesn't fluctuate as much. It's pretty much as we know it's going to be. But for an example, for revenue, property taxes for the current year. This is for a month end of January, just a few weeks ago. So property taxes come in a lot in August and September, and then a little bit throughout the year, and then they pick up again as the March 1st deadline rolls around. But 2.459 million, the second column is year-to-date taxes. What's our budget? Just over 3.6, so just about 1.2 million yet to be collected. A year ago at this date had collected 2.292, so we're increased from a year ago, 166,000. Some of that is just timing. Some of that is the fact that assessments go up pretty much every year. So, as long as we meet budget and or exceed budget, that's where we want to be by year end. And, we have consistently for years met that budget, because it does have some deductions in there in the budget for non-payments and uncollectibles. And the county is usually pretty good about paying what's owed. Some other taxes would be like any prior year taxes or public utilities. Investment earnings, we're still good there. Interest rates have dropped a little, so the budget for the year is 70,000. We've already received 79 through January, so we'll certainly exceed that budget. Not a huge number percentage-wise in the whole budget, but we'll still exceed that. Other local revenues could be payments from schools, it could be some reimbursements. Usually by year end, we pretty much come in budget on other local revenues. Going down to the category of state sources. So our largest single item by far is state aid. So for state aid for the year, we're budgeted 8.192 million. We've received just about half of it because that is more backloaded. It's backloaded. We get more in April, May, and June in that final quarter than we get any other time of the year. But we always, unless the state would do a mid-year reduction, which they're not, it's happened a handful of times since I've worked here, we always get more owed in state aid. There's never a question about that. So we'll get state aid, we'll get a penny more, but we'll get state aid. Other state sources is retirement and insurance that will come in. We will get the full allocation under other state sources, 3.6 million. We will collect all of that. So the state aid is locked in. So the variable might be on taxes. Can we get a little bit more than budgeted? Investment earnings, and then we get to federal sources. So this is just looking at our general current expense fund, our Fund 11, state and county. Medicaid, we get a little bit during the year, 7,000 so far. We expect 150. There's always a year-end settlement process where they settle, and we get a lump sum towards the end of June. We usually receive a little bit north of 150,000. 150,000 is our budget. 142 yet to go. Everything appears to be on target to meet the 150. Perhaps we exceed that by a little bit. We'll see how the numbers go, but we seem to be on track for that. And the one I've talked about at a prior meeting and just mentioned a minute ago, we budget 75,000 for secure rural schools called forest land funds. A couple years ago, we're over 100. We've scaled back expectations. We hope to get to 75. We do get some little payments totaling 9,000 that come from natural resources and very small allocations, but it's not the full secure rural school. So again, we would hope to get that remaining 65,864 by June 30, and obviously have that budgeted for FY '26 as well. So that's the goal, to keep that one coming in. Fund transfers in, our transfers in that we do internally, like for technology and local share, those always balance out. So everything looks on target there on the revenue side. Hopefully the tax collections come in a little bit above budget. Hopefully Medicaid comes in a little bit. We do hope that we receive the forest land as we have budgeted. So there's not near as many variables on the revenue side other than the ones that we've mentioned. So everything appears on target, and that's a look at the revenue picture as it relates to currently. So that's all that I have under 6C for financial update, unless you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, that was amazing. Wood County, 168 over formula.
I mean, they're a large county with a levy, but it does become more costly all the time without the other funds. Yes, they've become accustomed to having a large numbers, and they'll have to make some adjustments, I would say, based on that.
I reckon.
Anything else? Then that will conclude us under finance. Do we have anything under facilities?
The only thing I'd like to say under facilities, I'd like to, and Travis isn't here, and I've already spoken to him, but I'd just like to thank him for the work he did on the Safe Schools grant. There were 24 counties that received funding. There were 55 applications. Charter schools can also apply, but we were one of a number of counties that received the full funding, so I do appreciate the time that he put in on that.
Thank you. Any questions there? We have nothing under old business, so under new business, we have the fiscal year 26 cooperative WVU extension service funding request.
Yeah, this is, again, we talked about this in brief at refresh my screen. That kind of got added later to my board docs, but I'll show it here on the screen. It is the same information that was presented at last meeting, and they have requested an increase from the county school system and the county commission. Currently, we pay $6,000 to the county, to the extension office. The county commission pays the 11,600 for 17,600 total. They'd like between the two entities to raise that 17,600 to 25,000, and it must be, for their concern, it needs to be met by the 26-27 budget year. So that's the information I have for you on that.
So JPR percent increase, if we increased at the same percentage difference between now, what would that be?
The percentage that we contribute now to the total match. So now if we are contributing 6,000 of the 17,600, we are contributing 34%. We're contributing 34%.
So the increase, what would be the increase to 34% to get
About 8,000 or 9,000.
8,500 comes right. That comes out to the nice round number. 34% of 25,000 comes out to 8,500. Would be the number to keep the ratio the same between us and the commission in terms of that local match.
So we'd raise ours from 6,000 to 8,500.
Right, and we don't know, but that would certainly, we don't know whether anything else is
That'd be
happening.
my recommendation, we would raise ours to 8,500.
Our superintendent's recommending that we increase the amount of funding that we give to the cooperative extension service to 8,500 from the 6,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? And all in favor of approval of increasing our budget to the extension service to 8,500, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. Energy Express.
A few things to pass out. Thanks.
Wilma, Jerica is passing out some handouts, and I'll have her to scan those and email them to you tomorrow,
Okay.
okay?
Do you need a copy, Jerica?
No, I have a copy for myself. Okay, so this past fall, we've been working with Energy Express and Brooke Alt. She's the Pendleton County Extension for Energy Express, Edna Mulinex with Eastern Action, Dr. King Seeger with Experience Learning, and Melinda Brooks from Experience Learning, and she's also a Franklin Elementary School parent. Previously, before I got here, I know JP has been involved with it, Holly, Barb, and of course Nicole. We worked on our application. We submitted it in December. We got an approval call in January saying that we were accepted for 32 students. And then one of the emails I sent to you, we got another email on February 4th with our official letter approving us, and we were up to 40 children that we could serve. So Energy Express is a summer and reading nutrition program. It's for students entering first grade through sixth grade for rural, low-income communities in West Virginia. So it aims to prevent the summer slide that you typically see in summer with reading skills because they're not continuously learning daily or reading. It's going to offer engaging activities, mentorship, hands-on learning experiences to help foster a love of reading. Children are going to receive 2 nutritious meals a day, ensuring that they stay nourished during the summer. So we have planned to have this at Franklin Elementary School. I have attached kind of a map of the layout of what it looks like. On the back of the layout, you will see like red squares. These are off bounds, no limits to any students or Energy Express staff during the summer. Blue-green area is the areas that they are allowed to be in. So we have the library, media center, we have 4 classrooms, the gym, kitchen, cafeteria, a few meeting rooms, and the playground. And then you also see purple, which will be in the music and band room, which will be for credit recovery for the high school and middle school students. Let me see. It is going to start June 2nd and will go until July 25th. The first 2 weeks are anticipated for the mentors and kind of the head person to get into the building, set everything up, and do their training. And students will start on the 16th. And their last day will be the 25th. So far, they're only anticipating 1 holiday, so they'll be going about 29 to 30 days. Let me see. I've also attached, I've sent these out to the schools. It's an application. So what is going to happen is the principals have sent out the application and the letter to parents. Students have to apply for the position. It is under AmeriCorps to kind of pick who they choose, but they're going to work with the schools to kind of identify students who have applied with the lowest reading levels. We will work with them after we get all the applications in. This week we've already got 4 applications, and I sent out the letters last week. So it makes me feel a lot better that we are going to get at least 40 students who are interested in it. So the letters and the parent letters have also been posted on our social media pages. They have extra handouts at the schools as well. And then we are also planning on posting for 1 custodian, 1 cook, and 2 bus drivers. We won't really know the bus drivers' routes until we get all the students' applications and who's been identified, and then we can make the routes from there. I think that was about it. I know Brooke Alt, she's currently out of town for the next week and a half. We are planning to meet again within the next 2 weeks to kind of finishing the budget discussion to finalize what the days are going to look like. Monday through Thursday, we're anticipating it being Energy Express from 8 to 2. And then on Fridays, Experience Learning is going to come in for field trips, hands-on activities with them. And once I get a date scheduled for a meeting, if any of you would like to attend, just let me know and I can send you the meeting date.
So, Jericho, what's the estimated overall budget and what's our match?
Looking at it, we are going to be able to be reimbursed close to $9,000. So transportation, we can be reimbursed up to $6,000. Custodian, up to $1,500. It doesn't look like we get reimbursed for a cook, but we do get reimbursed for the meals for the AmeriCorps members, which would be about $1,300. So we won't really know a budget until we see who applies for the position based on seniority, what their pay is, but I would be anticipating between somewhere 5 to 10, because it looks like we might get around $9,000 reimbursed back. And then, and as some of the other partners we're working with, they're willing to put more money back into it so we can get reimbursed more.
They did indicate to us, it's not a tied down number at the meetings I have attended. I mean, they've indicated that they're willing to support, and maybe they can do some additional support once it's all said and done, meaning pitch in some funding or things like that. So I think Jerica is correct in the approximate $10,000 local cost. This is a learning process for us as we get this Energy Express program going, but a lot of the local partners do appear to be very excited about participating either up front or sending in reimbursement for funds. So it is not tied down exactly, but it's certainly in the ballpark, and I think those reimbursements can probably increase beyond a certain amount if we end up saying, well, we spent more than we anticipated. Can you increase your reimbursement? And there appears to be some positive answers on that. So I think we're in the ballpark with those numbers, yes.
So I would like to formally make a recommendation, we formally approve the FY 20, or the Energy Express program for Pelton County Schools.
Superintendent's recommending that we approve the Energy Express program for Pendleton County Schools for the summer of 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Jerica, do you think the 2 buses will be able to cover the number of kids in this county? I mean, the size of our county, I'm not saying the number.
I believe so. Once we identify like where the routes are going to be, my thought process is we have 1 bus towards the Brandywine, 1 towards the North Fork, and then we kind of designate pickup areas for the Franklin students if they're around this area, so we don't have to travel too far out. But it kind of just depends on who gets accepted first, so we can kind of lay out where everyone's at to make a plan.
It just seems like 2 buses, it's a large county.
Yeah.
And of course, it depends on when you get your students from, but you know, what time they would have to leave. Okay. See where they come from.
Yeah.
What does an average day look like? I mean, what time would they start, or would that be?
They're anticipating around 8 and then finishing around 2. So the normal Energy Express was like around 8 to like 12, and that would be like Monday through Friday, but we are doing something different with Experience Learning, so they'll have their field trip on Fridays. So we had to extend the day Monday through Thursdays. So Brooke is working with Energy Express to kind of give a layout of what the extended time would look like, since it's new for the entire state. So we're kind of like a pilot for the entire state of this new schedule. So once I get that with Brooke, I can forward it to all of you if you would like.
Should we put a preliminary budget number in at this point, or?
Okay.
Okay. So we've got the motion and second and the discussion about going ahead and sponsoring the Energy Express program for this summer. Any more discussion? Then all in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. Calendar. Back to you again.
I had it somewhere. I hope I didn't pass it out.
So this is the calendar that
I have
us
it
and
here,
Grant, we've had a Tri-County calendar for several years. Parties decide to go their own way and kind of separate, which kind of knocks them off of the South Branch Career and Technical Center calendar. South Branch Career and Technical Center school will be on ours and Grant's calendar. Both counties voted, the employees voted, and this was the winning calendar. And as in years past, we present that, of course, they presented to their board, I think already, maybe last night. We're presenting it to you, but this was our employees had 3 calendars that came out of the calendar committee to vote for. This is the one they chose. It's very similar to the calendars we've had in the past. There's not a lot of things different. And I would recommend that we approve this calendar.
Our superintendent has recommended that we approve the calendar as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
At least we're not coming back on Friday after Christmas, I see, this year. You see?
What's that?
We're not coming back on Friday
After Christmas,
to
yeah.
the Christmas break. But then New Year's is a different day too, so that
Yes.
makes a difference. But
Well, and just from my point of view, because the vocational school's in Grant County could dictate this and wouldn't have to allow us to
Yeah.
participate.
That's probably
So
true.
I appreciate the fact that they allow the staff members of Pendleton County to participate.
Yes.
So
And those, what I gave you is just the draft.
Draft.
Those are not finalized, so those aren't for distribution.
I guess Easter's early next year, huh? Spring break fall in with the Easter?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything additional?
No.
Then all in favor of approving the calendar as presented, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes, and that finishes us up under new business, and under other, we now have the 6-month attendance reports.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So I have our 6-month attendance report to share with you guys. You can see that North Fork Elementary School's 6th grade hit 98.888% for this past month. They were also the highest last month as well, and they were at 99% at that point. So they're doing really well. I apologize if you hear my little one in the background. The best individual school percentage was Brandywine Elementary School, and they were at 95%. And then the best county grade level percent was 3rd grade. They've been doing really well this year, and they're at 96.253%, with a county total of 94.637 for the 6th month.
Seems good to me.
I think everyone's doing really well right now. I mean, I know school has not consistently been in session, but they're doing well whenever they're here. You know, whenever we are able to get in the building, they're coming.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Then we'll finish up the attendance reports and move to school improvement student achievement.
Okay, Travis isn't here, but I have been looking at our last benchmarking scores, and again, with the amount of time that we've missed, the number of days that we've missed since Christmas, I guess the best description I can say is we're treading water. We're not moving forward, but then it would be difficult for us to do with the number of days we've been out of school. We're starting to drop back a little, but not significantly, but we do need to get back to face-to-face instruction to make sure we start moving ahead. I say that as we have another snowstorm coming, but hopefully, you know, warm weather's coming and we can get back in the groove. But we are looking at where our benchmark testing's falling, adjusting our instruction and making those adjustments according to, to the time we have, and kind of knowing we're going to have to compress a few things. So we do adjust and change how we do our instruction as we look at the loss of time.
I never thought about the challenge to the teachers to adjust the instruction. So that's significant. Any questions? Thank you for the update. How about a superintendent's update?
Okay, first thing on my superintendent's update, the legislators will be looking at the school aid funding formula. It is under review this year. They are looking at some variety of different things. I was down at the Capitol Friday meeting with some legislators and then some discussions on that. JP and I are kind of following up and keeping an eye on that, but that will be under review, and there'll be more of that coming up. And of course, we'll continue to try to support the 1400 floor and make sure that we can keep that out front of some of our delegates. There's also a House bill that was introduced, House Bill 2480, that I think gets sent out to you guys, which would consolidate the 55 counties down to 11. There would be 5 counties per board and 2 board members per county. So just to let you know, and I'm sure you're aware that that's out there, and that'll also bring some discussion. The only other thing I have is, we're still using our OS days, and I think we have 3 of those left.
Oh, yeah, 3.
Two the week of spring break, and then 1 at the end. And I do want to say that our Easter break, which is the 18th and 21st, those are out of calendar days, and I do not plan to make a recommendation to use those. So that's kind of where we're at, so people can count on that 18th and 21st, unless you guys direct me differently. But we are required to go through our OS days, and that's all I have.
Any questions under superintendent's update? Conference and meeting update.
JD and I will be at the South Branch Career and Technical Center on Thursday at 8:30. And then I have a executive committee meeting with the West Virginia Association of School Administrators on the 28th, and we'll be looking at some things, and that one is in Fairmont, and I believe that's the only 2 meetings I have.
Is there that not Epic?
And I'm sorry,
27th.
there is an EPIC meeting
27?
on the 27th at 12 o'clock that Sonny and I will be participating in via Teams.
So we have 2 more days left.
Any questions? Anything else? Then our next meeting will be Tuesday, our next full board meeting, regular meeting will be Tuesday, March 4th, here at 5:30, and I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
And all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes, and we